We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity for Business Owners and Employees podcast. And so today we're going to be talking about the value of dedication. So maybe what you can do as an employee, write down, right now, like, what are you dedicated to do? Like, what does dedication mean to you? If you have a college degree, think about, or go back to high school, think about, like, what did dedication look like in college? Like, it's weird as a business owner for me, where I see employees and they were more dedicated to get their education, what they were paying for. Hopefully, maybe their parents paid for it, maybe somebody else. I paid for my own education. So I was more dedicated, I think, for that because I was paying for it. But it's like you took home work in the evening, like homework. And you worked, over the weekend when you're in college. At least I did. And then, holidays, shoot, I worked during then too. So it's weird, isn't it? You think about that, like how dedicated I was to get my degree, which I was paying for. Now I'm working for an employer, they're paying me. And am I as dedicated to my employer as I was to my education? Or am I kind of thinking, well, my employer, is like my parents and they owe me this. And, I'm putting in 40 hours or whatever is expected. One thing that I will say in dedication is never, ever, and I mean ever, ever go ahead. And this is something that I think a lot of times people aren't taught. Like somehow my parents got it through to me, is if 40 hours are expected, I'm working at least 45 to 50. If 50 hours expected, I'm working more than 50. If 60 hours, like I'm always doing more than the minimum. Like this is what the marketplace requires. This isn't a bad employer, a mean boss, a mean owner, somebody. It's not that. It's what the market, it's to survive in this marketplace and to thrive. We always have to do more. So what does, dedication, what does that look like to you, Patty?
Well, I mean, to me, at least in my profession and in our firm, I feel like you need to be able to put the firm's needs first at some point. So whether it might make your job a little bit harder, but it might make the firm run more efficient. And if you're dedicated for the firm's well-being and for the firm to run efficiently, you might make some sacrifices personally to make the firm be more efficient and more productive.
Now we're going to test all of your listening skills. So right now you can, pause the podcast and then you can write down what Patty said. Like, she didn't say that you always put the firm's needs above your own needs. So a lot of times it seems like people don't listen. They're like, and they get all dramatic and they're shaking and they're like, she just said I should always put the firm. She didn't say always. She said sometimes. Now, what does sometimes mean? Sometimes mean 1% or 99%. It's up to you. Like you get to make the choice. In my experience, I accomplished like a 20-year goal in 3 years professionally. When I was 27 years old, I was promoted to a VP of sales position, actually 26, $460,000 a year earning and making $1 million had $1 million in equity in the firm. And the way I did that is I far surpassed any expectations. Like if the owner of your company is coming to you and saying, you're not maybe working as hard, if they're telling you to do anything in today's society, I would have to say that's not a good sign, because I think employers are reluctant to go ahead and say anything that somebody could be perceived as being negative. And that's a shame, because that's how you grow. It just is. So you need to embrace criticism. What I would do if I were you, if you want to advance quickly in your career, I would go ahead, make sure your, employer is sitting down. Don't do this when they're standing up because they'll probably have a heart attack. But ask them 1 to 10, how would you rate me on being a dedicated employee? And if you tell me it's a 2, it's okay. Like, give the employer, give your boss, give the leader permission to give you a low score. Whatever score they give you, it's probably 3 points lower. If they're telling you it's a 7, it's probably a 4 or a 3. I'm just saying that's what it is. And so, and then ask them, what do you like most about my dedication? And then what would be one suggestion to you that you would give me on being more dedicated? If the leader in your company, the owner, manager, is older than you, let's say they're my age, I'm 60, ask them, when you were 27, Mark, what would be some suggestions? What are some things you wish you knew at 27 that you now know at 60? You want to get people's input on what it is. And so, in my experience, is the more dedicated you are, the more successful you're going to be in your company. I'm just saying, that's my experience. And so we often tend to think we're more dedicated than we are. And we think other team members, other employees, our peers are less dedicated. We overvalue our own strengths and undervalue our own weaknesses. Fred, what does dedication mean to you?
Well, I think it's really the recipe for success. Dedication is someone that's enjoys their job. They're dedicated, like you said. When they went to college, they had to go to class. They had to do homework. Dedication in the workplace is exactly the same thing. You've got to be here. You've got to learn while you're here. You have to go home and do homework and learn your craft. And if you are dedicated, you're going to succeed, and you're going to go right up the corporate ladder. And the employers will see this. I mean, they can see this with their eyes closed if you're dedicated. It's very simple.
And sadly, please don't misunderstand my humor. Maybe a little salty today, but sadly, more so now than ever. Like, some of my 7 children have their degrees, and some of them do not. The hard work ethic and the dedication to what they do will give them far greater success in life and career than any college degree will ever give them. I'm just saying. I'm not against college degrees. I have 3 of them. I think maybe we need to help people too, Fred. When you say enjoy what you do, I don't know if people understand what that means. I was 16 years old, I think, and I might have been complaining about some of the work that I was doing around the house. Man, we had to work hard. It was very simple. In our home, you work either at home or you work outside and get paid. You work at home, you don't get paid anything. Man, we were out working as fast as we could. And I probably had an attitude about working. And my mom said, Mark, she's like, you're going to be working the rest of your life. You better learn how to enjoy work. So when Fred says enjoy work, he's not saying everything he does, he enjoys doing, but he is saying everything that I think he's saying, he can correct me if I'm wrong, everything he's doing, he learns how to enjoy it, because if you learn to enjoy what you're doing, you get better at it, and you do it a lot faster and a lot better. So if you're not enjoying something, learn how, like my mom said, learn how to enjoy it, because it'll take you a lot less time to go through it. Elise, what does dedication mean to you?
Well, I think it's a couple different things, but first and foremost, I think dedication means when you say you're going to do or achieve something, you follow through and do it. And the other piece, I think, has to do directly with the hard work, that we talked about in the past. And so if you're dedicated to something, you're willing to do the amount of work and the quality of work necessary to achieve whatever the goal is that you're looking for. So.
So this hits on something I think very big to me. When people say they're going to do something, I have the weird impression, obviously I must be really old, but I have the weird impression they're going to do it. Like, I just think when people say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. They're not going to come back with excuses. They're not going to come back with reasons. They're going to go ahead and get it done. And that's integrity. It's saying what we mean and meaning what we say. It's doing what we say and saying what we do. Like, that's integrity. I think a lot of the mental health issues, honestly, I'm serious. A lot of the mental health issues, I think, in the workplace is because people lack integrity within themselves. They say they care, but they really maybe don't so much. They say they work hard. They say they're dedicated. They say they have integrity. So their words are saying one thing, but their actions are showing another. There was a young lady that was in a relationship with my oldest son, and I hung out with her once a week. And we went out and hung out. My son said he wanted it. She wanted it. And after the third week of doing this, I said, Megan, sweetheart, love you like a daughter. I really do. You said you wanted me to treat you like a daughter, so I'm treating you like a daughter. And sweetheart, honey, you are the laziest person I've ever met in my life. And I said, you're going to be depressed. Now, you can take medication to reduce your depression, but the medication isn't going to change your laziness. It just won't. So as soon as the medication wears off, you're going to be lazy again. Like, a lot of, not all depression, I'm just saying a lot of depression comes from inside where we know we're not giving it our all. And so we're lazy, and then we're depressed about being lazy. The answer, a lot of answer to depression, I'm just saying, a lot of answer to depression is just work hard. Because when you work hard, you produce something. You feel good about yourself. You're not depressed anymore because you're so tired and exhausted. You go to bed, you get a great night's sleep, you get up, you do it again. If you're depressed, a lot of times it's because you know you're not giving it your all, and there's no amount of therapy that's going to go ahead, honestly, and change your work ethic. There's no amount of medication that's going to make you go ahead and have a hard work ethic. That's something that has to come inside. Patty, Elise, Fred, any other thoughts on dedication?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
No.
So if you're listening to the podcast, like, have a sense of humor, like, right? Don't like behave and don't misconstrue. Like, I have 7 kids. I have 8 grandchildren and 2 more on the way. And once my 11-year-old, when he was 7, he said, Grandpa, I'm lazy. I said, Daniel, no grandson of mine is ever going to go ahead and be lazy. He's never told me that again. And so, like, work hard, be dedicated, like care about what you do, and it will care about you. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. If you have any questions on this podcast, connect with the individual who invited you to participate, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300, outside the U.S. 630-393-9909. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.